Hey everybody, today I'm talking about ShipShape by Rob Daviau. Now this is a puzzly style board game for 2 to 6 players. It takes about half an hour to play. Now the idea of the game is that we are supposed to be pirates, kind of managing our pirate's hold on our ship by placing all these different interestingly shaped tiles, and all these tiles are going to kind of score you in lots of different ways. So the game is going to play out through 3 different rounds, and each round is going to kind of ramp up in how many different tiles you're going to have to place on your player board, which can make the puzzle somewhat trickier. So at the beginning of every round, a certain amount of tiles are going to be drawn, and then each player is going to have an individual set of cards, all identical to each other, numbered from 1 to 10. And on that stack of tiles, you're going to be able to see, the top ones. You can kind of look down and see what all the different the jagged pieces that stick out of these tiles is going to look like. And then depending on what you kind of want, you're going to play a card out of your hand in a kind of simultaneous selection manner, and then the person who plays the highest card is going to get first pick, basically, off the top, and so on. So, but additionally, if you both play the same number, then they kind of cancel each other out and you have to play again. Now, when you take one of those tiles, you're going to place it onto your player board, and the way or kind of the thinking behind placing those tiles is going to depend on a lot of different things, because there's going to be rats which are kind of embedded on the player sheets, and those are going to basically score you negative points if they're exposed at the end of the round. Then you're going to score gold, which is just straight up points. You're going to score contraband, which scores you points, or scores everybody points apart from the player with the most of it. You've got cannons, which scores you points depending on the difference between the lowest player and the highest player. And there's also additional points which are granted depending on who can cover their whole, basically the whole base sheet. So if you completely covered every single square on your player board, then you score additional points as well. And at the first round, I think it's once you've played 3 tiles, you're going to score. The second round, it's going to be, I think it's 4, and the next one is 5. So it does ramp up quite nicely, and the puzzle gets a bit more complicated as it goes on. Additionally, at the end of each round, whoever's winning gets a slightly more punishing base sheet going into the next round as well. So, you're going to have to cover up more of those rats to begin with. And it's all about just, jiggling those different platforms around. You can rotate them and you can flip them, all trying to be as, get as many points as you can by, covering up those rats, trying to expose as much gold as you can, trying to have almost the second most contraband, trying to get as many cannons as you can. And obviously, as you place them, you're going to have to sacrifice other things as these different jagged bits cover up other tiles that you've already placed. So it's like constant rotation of a puzzle, trying to squeeze every point you can out of your own little player board. And that's pretty much the game. The balance of the game is somewhat random, because obviously you are drawing, or when you're playing your cards, you're very much trying to get into the head of your opponent, trying to decide or guess who's going to play what, trying to make sure you're not duplicating with someone else so you don't have to go again. But you can make a somewhat educated guess, but you are limited to to the accuracy of that. But it doesn't really matter. It's all part of the fun. If you get something that you don't want, then you're just going to have to work with what you've got and try to cover up or try to squeeze as many points as you can out of what you've got. So that's quite nice. Mechanically, very simple. I mean, I'm not quite, don't get me wrong, it works really well, but the meshing of the simultaneous selection and the puzzle bit is somewhat, somewhat jarring, but it's no issue at all. It works okay. I just don't know if there'll be an easier or a better way of drafting which tiles you're going to get, but that's just a small observation there. Time investment is really good. I mean, it takes about half an hour to play. It always feels like you're doing something in the game. There's no lulls in it. You're always engaged, always working out your puzzle, always just jiggling things around and managing your hand of cards. And once your hand of cards runs out, you get to draw them all back up again. So there's that. It's always engaging, always quick. Replayability wise, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's going to be the same kind of game every time you play it, but it's fun, it's light, it's breezy, and I don't think it's got that kind of that barrier of wanting to play it again and again, because it's just so light, and it's just, as I said, it's engaging. Interaction wise, mainly comes from the simultaneous card selection. trying to keep tabs of which other players' cards have been played. If you really, really want one of those top tiles, then playing a high card is going to be important at the right time. And obviously, you're always factoring in what other players can do in terms, or what other players are scoring, because again, you don't want to be the player with the most contraband. So you're going to have to keep tabs on other players and what they're doing, because that's going to kind of affect what you're going to want to take and what you're going to want to cover up on your turn. There is a slightly fluffy rule where you can only look at other players' player boards from the kind of the perception or perspective of where you're sitting. And for me, that's a bit fluffy, it's a bit woolly. I'd rather you just be able to have a look at other players' boards completely. It's just, I don't know, it's just not a precise rule. Interaction wise, yeah, I covered that. Component quality is really good actually. There's a bunch of these different interesting tiles, these square tiles with little jagged bits sticking out of, which cover up different spots on your hold. And they're really cool. They're like foam core, almost like plastic veneered of tiles, so they're nice and light but still durable. They look quite good, and the printing on them is not the highest quality. I mean, they're almost slightly pixelated, so it's almost like they haven't got the resolution quite right. But again, very small niggle there. It looks pretty good. The artwork on the player cards is absolutely fine. Theme wise, the whole pirate thing is tacked on, but it works okay. I mean, you could do this with anything really, but again, why not be pirates? Because who doesn't like pirates? And setup and teardown time as well is really good, because it's just set up a bunch of tiles, get your hands of cards, give everyone a player board and get going. The sense of progression in the game as well is quite good, because as I said, each round ramps up, so you're going to be placing more tiles each round. You're going to have to factor in how well you're doing, because there is a slight catch-up mechanism where, as I said, the player who's doing the best is going to get a worse board to deal with each round. And scalability wise as well is pretty good, because it's all simultaneous and you can all jiggle your boards around together, so there's not too much downtime depending on the player count. Now, I've not played at the higher player counts at 5 or 6, but I can't imagine it'll be too much of an issue. And comparison wise to any other game, I mean, there's so many puzzle games out there, but this one feels different. The actual physical pieces of the game are a lot different and have a different it's just a different thing to work with. Most puzzle games don't use tiles like this, so in that vein it's quite unique. And the puzzly aspect of covering up what you want to, what you need to, and getting the tiles you want is, it's fun. So yeah, overall, this is a really fun light game, one that didn't really blow up massively, considering Rob Daviau is quite a successful designer. But this one, again, I've got no real quibbles with it. It's fun, it's engaging, it's light. I can see myself going back to it every time. I'm not going to ever, resist playing it, because it's quick. And I think puzzle games in general just satisfy me, because you can just kind of work on your own thing, not worry about too much what other people do, but you do have to kind of consider it a bit. But yeah, it's a pleasant game, one that I'll never really refuse to play. Don't get me wrong, it's not amazing, but it's fun and very accessible as well. So this one is a nice little game to play in about half an hour, has that kind of family weight to it, and yeah, it's good, completely fun and inoffensive. So that's ShipShape, a good game. It gets a decent vote from me, just narrowly missing out on a 7. But who knows, with more play, and if I get it to the table again and again and again, I could easily creep up above a 7. So yeah, that's ShipShape. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you have, please hit like and subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos too. For everyone else, I'll see you next time. I'm Chairman of the Board. Bye.